Hello, everybody. If you can see us, happy Friday. Sorry, we're a minute behind. We were chatting. And you know what happens when the on-air advocate and two of her favorite girls get chatting?
Aw.
We're a,
Oh, Tim, we love you.
we're a little bit late, so we are sorry for not being punctual, but we are here. We hope you're enjoying your Friday night. And we are going to kick this off. So, welcome everyone to episode 217 of the On Air Advocate. Where at the On Air Advocate, we look to provide education, support, and empowerment for all of those with different abilities, mental and medical illnesses, and their caregivers. For those of you who may not know me, my name is Tammy Flynn, and I am the host and producer of the On Air Advocate. And I am super excited if you're here this evening joining us, or whether you are catching this on the replay. Now, as always, if you think any of the content that we are talking about tonight could be relevant from anyone in your network or your circle, please hit the share button and share the love with others. Well, tonight we are kicking off our COVID conversation series. And I'm kicking it off with, like I said, two of my favorite girls, young ladies. And they decided that tonight I'm going to call them a different name. So I have here tonight with me Ty and Jules are here with us tonight. They are both authors, writers, and cerebral palsy advocates. So welcome back, ladies.
Thank you for
Thank you so
having us
much.
back.
Thank you so much for having us back, Tammy. It's always a pleasure.
Yes, you guys are wonderful. And Talia is like, Ty is on the beach.
Yes, I am on the beach because I wanted a background to make me feel like I was on the beach. Okay, I miss my beach. So I'm just gonna be here talking about COVID,
and
just chilling.
pandemic. If anybody uses Zoom, since we're talking about backgrounds, and they usually use the background screen, drop it in the comments below if you're watching on Facebook and let us know. We want to know what your favorite screen is. So now we're going to actually dive into the COVID conversations. Well, as we all know, 2020 has been challenging and on all different levels, even aside from the pandemic. And so I wanted to bring two of my thought leaders, I guess you'd say, onto this platform to really talk about that with you guys as being two individuals that are differently abled, but that are going through this pandemic and what they are experiencing. So, ladies, are you ready?
I'm ready.
This is kind of a party Friday night, right?
Yeah, party Friday night. I forgot to bring my Coca-Cola, but it's all good.
Yeah,
I have water.
talking about the pandemic. And let us know when we're talking about these topics where you guys sit. If you guys are listening in tonight or you watch this on the replay, we'd love to know what are the different challenges and things that you've been experiencing, through this. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is employment. And so for Ty and for Jules, both of them have kind of developed themselves having mini careers that are from home. And so some of their experiences have been different from those who have employment that are differently able, that are working outside of the home. Those know that after the age of 21, for those that have intellectual and cognitive disabilities, more than 85% of young adults reside at home and do not attain employment. And so we're going to be talking about that later in the week with those that do work outside of the home. But I want to start out with Ty this evening, talking about, her mini career and the different, things that she does from home base. And what have been the challenges employment wise and what have been the positives since COVID started?
So for me, I'm a self-published author and I work for a nonprofit that helps children with cerebral palsy, and we help spread awareness through that nonprofit. Now, the easiest part for me is writing articles and sharing my stories with the world and doing things like this where I could pop on Zoom and share my story and advocate and do motivational speaking and public speaking and still write. The hardest part is when you're constantly asked to write about the same topic over and over again. That gives you anxiety, which is COVID. I know for me that's been difficult, and not knowing what's going to happen in the future.
Mm-hmm.
like is writing about CP is going to be something that's overshadowed because all the journalism world wants is COVID things right now.
That is so, and Ty, I didn't even think about that, is that you were telling me that today, this is like your 5th time on Zoom, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so with that, are most of those interviews that you're talking about through this time, have they been primarily about COVID and about the pandemic?
Yeah, in some aspects, and in some aspects no, because sometimes they'll just want my story as a writer, but then they ask me the hard questions like, how are you navigating through COVID? Because they want to know, they're curious about it, and I tell them, but it's just hard for me to express because I get so anxious.
Yes. And you were saying about the nonprofit that you work for. So, for those that haven't seen Ty on the show before, Stomping on Cerebral Palsy with
Mm-hmm.
Tylia, right? Her on the show before. She does a lot of her own, she's published a book. She does tons of writing for like The Mighty and other different publications. But she also does outside work for that nonprofit. And can you kind of tell the audience a little bit about what's kind of going on with that?
Okay, so I got in touch with a great nonprofit organization called DYAbled. We met through a group that I meet up with called Crip Chat, where all the advocates come together and we speak about our disabilities and we just come together as a support group. And through that organization, I have been able to do poetry. I was able to recite my first poem, Why, which I'll put the link in the description down below. I've been able to share my story through advocacy. I spoke for a homeschooling class through this nonprofit museum in Asheville called Revolve, and I was able to do that. And that's been a blessing in itself. And as far as my job, I can't say the name of the nonprofit where I work. That's very different from DYA1 Evolve. But I could say that it's been really difficult working there because I don't know if they're gonna have the funds to pay me today or tomorrow or in the next week due to COVID, because a lot of these nonprofits are going through budget cuts.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And that's what I wanted to talk what we were speaking about, Ty, because I don't think that sometimes when we don't see things, we don't believe that it's happening. But even, the other organizations from pancreatic cancer, to CP, to spina bifida, all of those organizations every year look for funding dollars. I'm saying all of them thrive off of the donations that are made. And if right now all of the funding is going towards all the challenges of 2020, what's happening to all the research, the help, and the workers behind the scenes for these nonprofits?
Exactly. And that's where my concern is, because in order to keep a nonprofit, you have to get donations and you have to get funding. But what happens when the people that donate and give you the funds go out of business?
Right.
And then we suffer as a nonprofit because of it.
Right. And I think it's bigger than even the people who work there, is that you need the research, right? We need research to be done to find cures and helpful, tools to aid in the medical need for so many of these as well.
Mm-hmm.
I feel. So I'm gonna bump down now to Jules. Jules, how has the pandemic, employment wise, working on your writing, your advocacy, authorship, all of that, how has that affected you during this time?
Well, Tammy, I haven't written anything in over 2 years, but but I but I think it's affected me because like I just don't want to. This COVID pandemic has been giving me so much anxiety, like hearing the news and everything. I don't really want to write much about COVID because I feel like it's gonna give me really terrible anxiety and it's gonna make my anxiety worse than it already is. Because we got all this, we got everybody um um sorry
Go ahead.
Quarantined, with everybody being quarantined?
and the news being so bad, and because I don't know about everybody else out there, but the news is giving me terrible anxiety, especially when this COVID first started and the news started coming out every day about the COVID and stuff and the numbers and everything else.
And how have you dealt with that for like the news and everything? You know, like for me, I removed my TV from my bedroom, you know, just because I just couldn't take, because I turn it on and the news would be on and stuff. What have you done anything that has kind of helped that
No,
anxiety?
I tried to distract myself, but since I'm on Facebook, I actually use Facebook as my news feed, because you can't really believe everything the regular news tells you, because they're telling you all the bad stuff about COVID. Like, they don't say like, oh, this town is like um um these town's numbers are down, these town's numbers are okay, you're able to travel to this place because the numbers are down. Like, they say like, you can't go here, you have to wear a mask. They're starting a travel ban list for outside of state travelers to quarantine for 14 weeks, for 14 days. I mean, sorry. Excuse
Oh
me.
no,
It's okay.
that's fine. With that, Jules, where do you reside again? Where is what state are you?
I am in Hamden, Connecticut.
Okay, so you're in Connecticut. So you were more of a hot spot, right? At
Yeah,
one
when this COVID first started, it was pretty bad here. The numbers were pretty high every day, but now it seems like we're stabilized now. And the last I heard, there have only been like a couple of deaths and a few hospitalizations. So
okay. So that's positive. Ty, in Florida, I know you're in, well, clearly she's got palm trees behind her.
It's bad in Florida. I mean, the numbers keep going up, and the theme parks just open back up. And the governor, I'm gonna just say this: Governor DeSantis, Senator Rick Scott, you need to answer advocates' emails about this COVID-19, because us people with disabilities, we are not disposable, and by you ignoring our emails, we feel as if you think that we're disposable human beings. And let me tell you something, I will be calling your guys' office on Monday, because I'm organizing a blackout for everybody to call their Senate and governor, especially Governor DeSantis and Senate Rick Scott. I mean, something needs to be done. Our voices need to be heard. I tweeted you guys, I've emailed you guys, no response. So my next step is to do a blackout.
yeah,
I need your contact information.
you go, girl.
I can send them a message as well. And
girl.
what have your numbers been each day? I mean, I know that Florida is a hotbed, but do you know?
The last number I heard was 900 new cases.
Oh my god.
So about per day?
Yes. And Juliana, to answer your question, to fix your anxiety, girl, get one of these. Get a Fire Stick and disconnect your cable.
I don't watch TV that much, so
That's what Ty does for her. She likes what did we talk about? 90 Day Fiance.
90 Day Fiance, but I like the old school shows more. Like, I like watching Urban Cowboy, Roseanne, Doris Day. I like TV Land. I like all that show with the alien. Like, I'm an old soul, so I watch all these shows on TV Land.
So Jules, have you kind of disconnected from Facebook? Because I kind of just, except for a little bit of the work stuff, I've tried to disconnect a tiny bit. I definitely did for weeks at a time.
I've been going out with my mom a lot, like, to get away from Facebook. I've been going out with my mom a lot, not bringing my phone, even though she asked me, "Hey Jules, do you want to bring your phone?" I'm like, no.
That's good.
Yeah, I agree. Like, in the beginning of COVID, I've been doing Facebook for the advocacy work, but as far as personal and things like that, I haven't been on it as much because of people posting statuses about COVID and giving false information. And, like, I hate to say this, but my grandma is one that if she'll see an article about COVID and she'll share it and share it. And I'm like, Grandma, like, and it's making her more paranoid.
Right.
And
right.
I'm like,
sometimes that disconnecting is the best thing we can do.
and I'm like, but I call her Awala. I said, Awala, you can't be looking at that stuff all day. Like, go read a book or something.
Yeah, that's why I say the best thing you could do is just disconnected. And if your mom or somebody goes out, tell them you want to go with them. So this way it'll give you an excuse to disconnect from Facebook and don't bring your phone either. Cause that'll be a tactic for you to want to go on Facebook.
Yes, and I know, Jules, we were talking about before we started the interview, just kind of like that disconnect. What do you think? You know, that you were talking about the disconnect. What do you think that has been one of the hardest things with the pandemic? I know that in our differently abled community, there's a lot of isolation already. So we know what isolation is as caregivers, as being in that community. But do you think this has taken it like to a whole new level?
Yes, for sure, Tammy. This has really put a big strain on my social life because I see a therapist for anxiety. I haven't seen her in over a year, but when I first started working with her, she said, Jules, you need to have a social life because that's going to make your anxiety better because you have friends and everybody and to support you and stuff. But now COVID's here, and now you can't even see anybody. And if you want to see people, it has to be like a small group of people.
Yeah.
You can't hug anybody. You can't really see anybody that much. And I think, and I'm also, for the people that don't know this about me, I'm also a big hugger too. So this pandemic has really hurt my anxiety a lot.
I could agree.
It has really got me down when it comes to having a social life. It's just really depressing for a lot of us. Because, I mean, Zoom is good, but it's just not the same as seeing people in person.
Exactly. I could agree with that. Like, they say,
how has that affected you?
So they say that Zoom is good and stuff, but like I'm a very sociable person. I like going out to the clubs. I like meeting people, having my margarita, my Coke and rum, and I couldn't even go clubbing for my 25th birthday, so I just had a Coke and rum in the house.
I mean, I'm also if I can interrupt, Ty, I'm sorry.
Sure, go right ahead.
For me, when I get to know people and warm up to them, I like to talk to them. Like you guys, I like to talk to you guys, and being able not to meet new people and travel because I was supposed to go to. This has nothing to do with it, but I'll put it out there though. I was supposed to go to Las Vegas for my 21st birthday this year, but that couldn't happen because of COVID, and I was kind of like really depressed about that because like everybody that knew about it I was really looking forward to doing that. So I mean, this has really put a strain on 2020 period. I just say we cancel everything, to be honest with you, and just start over next year because I mean everything it's just getting depressing after every day. Like it gets worse every day instead of better.
I could agree with Juliana on that. Like for a while, I felt like I was waking up and doing the same exact thing, and I just told my parents like a few days ago. I said, "Look, I have to get out this house. We need to go to Cheesecake Factory," and that's what we did. Like I go out, but I get anxiety, and then that makes us have to leave. But
yeah, and this may feel kind of weird, but going to sleep for me, especially when COVID first started, it helped me forget that COVID was here. Then I would wake up and I would say to myself, "Oh man, we're still in this nightmare." Because
oh my God, I thought I was alone. Thank you.
Going to sleep kind of made me forget that COVID was here.
Yeah, the other day I had a dream I was in Fort Lauderdale with all my old friends.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the thing is that, I mean, we have to kind of think about there at some level, some of this might be our new normal, right?
Yeah.
Like even if 2021
Yeah.
comes, hopefully we will be able to
It
see
loosens up
people
a little
again,
bit. It
you know?
loosens up a little bit.
Yeah. I don't know, like, will there ever be a time in the near future that we're not all wearing a mask or that there can't be these huge gatherings? I don't know. I don't know when that is going to happen. And Ty, to go back to you for Florida, I know you've been writing the governor and all of that letters and letting them hear your voice, but are they choosing to open up everything? Because I thought some things got shut back down again.
Yeah, because it's Florida, Tammy. It's Florida. They don't know what they're doing, and the governor,
Florida.
he agrees with everything Mr. President does because they're from the same party. But I feel like the governor, the Senate,
Mhm.
and the president, sorry for the Republicans that are listening, they're not taking action. And that's the most frustrating thing ever.
So in Florida,
Yeah.
they did have it closed, but then they opened it. And then even though the numbers have been up, have many things still stayed open?
Yes, like the theme parks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those have
People are
And
going to that, and restaurants. Like yesterday we were at a restaurant and my stepdad, I love him, but now he's become more of a worrywart, and he was so scared because they were gonna sit us next to people, and the lady was like, the hostess was extremely rude. She was like, well, it's a restaurant, you're gonna have to sit next to people.
Yeah, and I thought that across the board, it was supposed to be that if people were going to be open, that they still had to keep they had still to follow CDC guidelines.
yeah. For
And
our
it's,
state,
oh, go on,
I'm
Jewel.
sorry, Tammy.
No, that's fine.
Since we're talking about our states and stuff, our state, we're opening up in phases like 1, 2, 3, 4. But our governor, he decided to take restaurants and bars. I mean, not restaurants and bars, opening up bars and all that stuff. He decided to take it out in the next phase because he's worried that it would cause more cases in our state. And so far, we've been very stable so far.
Yeah, like Juliana, kudos to your governor on that. I wish Governor DeSantis would get his head off his butt and do the same thing. Like the other day, I saw a video of a woman in Orlando International Airport yelling that it was her civil right not to wear a mask, and how she was disgusted that everybody was wearing a mask. And I'm like, what's the big deal? Just wear a mask.
Right. And that brings me to my next thing that we were talking about beforehand. One of the biggest challenges of 2020 is that we have a pandemic. We have definitely racial tension, equality, inequality tension. We have all this tension across the whole United States, right? And it's all this breeding of negativity. It's kind of like we can't find a nice ground, right? It's just
Yeah.
Can't find stable ground.
We can't find stable. That's the word.
And then people with disabilities are being overlooked. Like July was Disability Pride Month, but nobody talked about it. There's issues going on within the disability community that nobody's speaking about. So it's up to us to talk about that. Like a month and a half ago, I was on a panel talking about police reform for colored people with disabilities, and that got put in the Manhattan Times. But yeah, it's just a lot. And I just feel like when it comes to this COVID-19 and this pandemic, people with disabilities aren't being talked about. What's going on in the group homes aren't being talked about.
Yeah.
Right. And so many things compiled on top of each other. And you guys don't have to share all this personal, but before the show, we talked a lot about even issues of, okay, there's COVID, everybody, you're supposed to have your hand sanitizer and your wipes and you got your mask on. Well, what about those that don't even have accommodating restrooms that are for them? If you were watching, last month was the awareness month for changing spaces and changing places, which is the campaign across the United States for accessible restrooms for everyone in the world. And in the United States, we are making little strides, but can we believe that there's not even accommodating restrooms for everyone?
And you know what's crazy? The ADA was passed 30 years ago, last month. And okay, go ahead, Juliana.
I keep interrupting everybody. I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. We're all friends. It's a Friday night. It's fine.
I haven't been really touching anything. The only thing I've really been touching is the bars and the bathrooms, because that's how I transfer in and out of my wheelchair, my portable transfer wheelchair. Because I don't really feel like, because if you touch anything, you have to wear gloves. So just in case you, I don't know, say you transmit something or whatever they say. But I haven't really been touching too much because honestly, I'm one of those people who can't really do anything function with gloves on.
Yeah, same thing with me. When I go to a public bathroom, my mom has to put me on the bar to transfer me. But I don't usually like using public bathrooms anyway because I'm a germaphobe. I think I have But
right.
when it's all said and done, what if I really have to go and I have a bad controlling with my bladder, especially when I have to poo? It's hard. So yeah, that's my dilemma.
Right.
Yeah,
right. I don't even think with everything that's going on, it's like everyone wants to argue about a mask and everyone wants to argue about this and be negative about this. What about just the normal accommodations that should be there? Like you said, there's so many things that in the different abilities community that are being advocated for on a daily basis. And that's as simple as the right to have an accessible restroom, right? There's so many, there's so many things. And with COVID, you have to think, everyone's talking about everything should be so sanitary and everything should be this. Well, when you don't have accommodations, even for the simple things, that makes it really hard for the differently abled community. Don't you guys think?
Yeah, I agree with that 110%.
Even with COVID, even with disabilities and with COVID, you have to do what you have to do. And if people keep looking at you, let them look at you, because you have to do what you gotta do to get through every day.
Right.
Especially during these times.
But I think as Ty was talking about, is that so many things, like for July was Disability Pride Month, and so many things are being overlooked. And so I think that we all just need to stay cognizant and aware that all of these foundations and all of these organizations that are out there trying to do medical research, that are trying to put out information to educate people on different medical conditions, they all thrive off of, our donations, that people are giving, and people learning about the organization and wanting to get involved. And now it's kind of like this wave of all the challenges of 2020 have over.
Sorry.
That right? Ooh, we have another guest on.
Hi, Thea.
Sorry, guys.
Malfunction.
Oh no. That's
Hi, Miss Dina. He probably doesn't know it's me.
That's fine. We like more people on the show. So, I think that all the things that you both are doing and continuing to drive that awareness is so important. We can't let the COVID times overtake, or the pandemic, or just the challenges of 2020, to not let people know that there's real issues, other issues that still exist other than COVID.
Yeah, like disability rights, and
you don't know what to write about, because all the journalism, like Ty said in the beginning, all the journalism world wants is COVID stuff right now. So you really don't know what issue to work with on top of the COVID.
Right.
Yeah, and that's the dilemma I have, like, all the time. They're like, can you do an article for us about COVID? And I'm just like, why not talk about something else? Can I talk about how I used to be able to do this, this, and this, just to give people a sense of positivity and to give people the space to say, wow, like this article helped me get away from my anxiety.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and I think that for so many, all the things that hospitals and therapies and stuff, a lot of those halted, right? So now those that had, different medical conditions and different needs, like Marcus just got, he in June, he got put in, he was supposed to be going through rehab for his legs and therapy. And they just finally called me today to tell me that in the middle of August, they can finally see us because they had closed it down to only patients they were already seeing. And so there are tons of people out there from, they're from speech and PT and OT and all of those things that have been put on pause.
Like I can't even get services right now, and I've been fighting with the insurance because they only want to give me 6 sessions a year.
What?
As an adult, 6 sessions.
That's so stupid.
And me and my mom have been fighting, and they only want to give me 30 minutes a session.
That's so stupid.
What?
So now my mom's having to do aqua therapy from the house because the insurance is being a numbnut.
I
can't believe that. We need to do a whole show on insurance. That's what we need to do, a show.
I stopped therapy about a year ago because I was gonna start this summer, but my therapy place that I'm at now, because I'm 21, is being used as a COVID recovery place. So I'm not able to go because I don't want to get high risk for COVID.
It's a COVID recovery place, so they're doing therapy for those who had COVID?
No, they're just, let me rephrase that. It's actually being used as like for patients that come out of the hospital.
Oh.
Who have like after effects from COVID, like leg problems and all that kind of stuff. They're actually being used. I'm not sure if it's being used as that kind of place or just the COVID for extra beds or something, but all I know is it's being used as a place for COVID, so I'm not able to go because I made it this far without getting sick. I'm not gonna start then.
Right.
Yeah, no.
Well, Jules, that's so interesting. So as we're having this discussion, just more things are coming out. I mean, who would have thought that the therapy center that you go for therapy is going to be used for that? And that's, what I'm saying? Because so COVID has affected, those things happening, not because they don't still do therapy, but it's being used and, with conditions of those that have had it and making people susceptible.
That's like my public library is being used as a COVID testing spot.
Is it?
Yeah. So
I don't know. And Ty, here in Wisconsin, a lot of people don't want to follow the rules. So we are on the upswing. We've had over 1,000 cases per day, 900 per day, over and over for about the last 2 weeks now. So I don't know what's going to.
Oh Lord, CP's having a party. I'm sorry, my CP's having a party.
Oh, well, that's not good.
Spasm.
Boy.
Oh.
Even though we are stable,
woo,
there are some people that don't want to follow the rules.
Right. But the whole thing is it's just like
whatever.
Life is too short to just put the mask on, right?
Yeah, just put the mask on.
It's not.
I know it's uncomfortable, but just put it on so we can get out of this and get back to normal.
Because what I always say, if by chance they're right, and the masks really do help, even if there's only a 5% chance, why wouldn't we want to take the chance to be done with this?
Exactly, and that's what the Karens are not understanding. And yes, I said the Karens because there's a lot of you Karens that don't want to wear a mask. Wear a mask.
There's a lot of everybody who doesn't want to wear a mask. But I do feel like for school though, I don't know how those little ones are gonna do.
I don't know how the special ed kids are gonna do.
Yeah. I don't know.
I just want to say, for all you parents listening and for all you everybody that's listening, I feel for you because you're making the decision, the hard and difficult decision to send your kids back to school or not. I really feel feel for you.
Yeah, I feel for them too. And in some states they're making the parents sign death waivers.
Yes.
Yeah.
And,
And
and
they're making like the kids like stay like 6 feet apart with tables and stuff. And
Like
it's
that's
like,
not how
what?
school's supposed to be.
it's going to be a different school experience, but I think that for those young kids, it is going to be really hard and kind of scary. If you're 5 years old and you have to go to school with plexiglass in between you and a mask, that's not the most comforting.
The 5 and 3-year-olds, they don't know any better. Only the older ones will understand.
Right, that you can explain to them why all of this is happening. But for all of us within that are caregivers that care for those with chronic medical illness, that you're in contact with anyone with chronic medical illness, whether that's your grandparent or whether that's your grandson, I mean, whoever that may be, or those with that are differently abled, I mean, just do your fellow American a nice gesture.
Just do what you need to do to get us out of here, because like everybody.
Because I think, like I said, like if you just try it, if it doesn't work, well then it didn't work, right?
Everyone just wants to be done with this right now.
Right, we all want to be done, and
Yeah,
we will
and
be able to be together for a party.
And when you go to the store and you see 2 Lysols, just take one for the next person.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And don't steal toilet paper.
Have you found any Lysol anywhere?
Luckily I've been able to find some at Target and online, but
Yeah.
people are ODing with the toilet paper.
Again, I heard.
Yep.
I heard all the toilet paper came back, and now.
Yeah, my mom actually, you know what? My mom and I stayed with my aunt for 3 months, and when they first went to the store, my aunt and my mom, they couldn't find toilet paper for like a week. Because everybody just like OD'd on the toilet paper, because everybody got panicked about the
And
pandemic.
I'm like, I know everybody doesn't use Charmin. I use Charmin to wipe myself, because Charmin's good. Okay?
For Target, for Charmin.
I love Charmin. If Charmin watching this video, it feels so good when I'm wiping.
You want to do a commercial for it?
Because my skin is sensitive because of CP, and Charmin's the only one that's like.
She's trying to get endorsement right now. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and a Blake Shelton endorsement.
Yes, and a Blake Shelton endorsement too.
They canceled the opening to his restaurant. It was supposed to open on my birthday. I was supposed to go, and they canceled the opening to the 16th because of COVID.
What I would love is, I think that at the end of 2020, you guys should, because you both can write, you know how to write, is do a little like editorial on like all the positives, the negative, and the quirky things. Like, when did you ever think in the world that we would be talking about toilet paper?
Yeah, that's true. And Sammy, you want to know what's crazy? Even country concerts are changing, okay? Yeah. I went to get 2 tickets to the Blake Shelton concert, and it was a bunch of money for the meet and greets. They're charging people thousands of dollars for these meet and greets on Zoom.
Yeah.
On Zoom?
Yeah.
That should be free, because Zoom is free, so that should be free.
But country artists need to make my money, and Blake Shelton doesn't have the time in the world for me. But like, don't.
Okay, so if they listen to this on the replay, they're not gonna know. Ty here, really, really loves Blake Shelton.
Yeah, Tammy, we need to find a club or something, or a way we could get Blake Shelton to meet Ty, because I told her that one time, and she was like, "Oh my God, Jules! If that ever happened, I would cry." So I'm like, we need that to happen, so this way we can.
I know. I tried to tag him on Twitter and stuff. Like,
I have a bunch of Stompers starting a campaign after they saw my last interview with you, Tammy. They're like, I got a bunch of emails from Stompers that tweeted Blake Shelton. And
yeah, so come on, anybody who is listening tonight.
Come on, so we can get a whole.
Let us know.
Come on, guys, so we can get a whole Zoom party, so we can see Tylia's reaction to meeting him.
As you can see, we could carry this party on. We could carry it on for a long time, but I know we talked a lot about the pandemic, COVID, the challenges of 2020. But what I want you guys to leave the audience with, you two are two of the most inspirational people that I know. And I think
Oh,
you're amazing young leaders.
Tammy, don't make me cry on live TV, please.
yeah, don't.
You really are, because you know, like, you always look at the glass half full instead of half empty, you know. And within all of this, the positivity that comes off of you guys is how you're going to re-navigate and going on interviews and talking to people and answering questions that people have. It's like you want to just pivot and, you know, try to figure it out. And so, you know, I appreciate that about both of you, because I think that there needs to be more of that in the world.
Yeah, especially now.
So I would like both of you to leave us with a thought for the night moving forward. We are in August of 2020. Okay, we only got a few more months, people. This can't go on forever. We got a few more months of 2020.
You know what? I'm curious to see how the New Year's Eve thing is gonna be in New York this year.
I know.
Yeah,
They already canceled the Christmas show in New York City at Radio City Music Hall. They already canceled it for Christmas.
And what about Macy's Thanksgiving?
Yeah, I haven't heard anything on that yet though.
Okay, so we're scratching that. So I want you, what are the words that are going to carry us all through and resonate in our minds over and over again for the next 4 months?
Like I always say, Tammy, despite the obstacles you face in your story, despite the bad chapters, you got to keep stomping on CP. And in this case, I'm going to say stomp on COVID-19.
All right, Jules, Ty is going to be stomping COVID. What are you going to be doing?
You know what, Tammy? I could say words over and over for like 3 hours, but I'm just gonna say, you know what, guys, hang in there. You know, I know this is hard. I know you guys are probably depressed because you can't see anyone. Just hang in there. It might not feel like it right now, but it's gonna be okay. And I send all my hugs and love to everybody. So
let's hug it out.
hang in there, guys.
Right.
Oh, let's do a virtual hug.
Jules, hug it out. Hug it out. Hug it out. Anybody, if you're watching right now, hug with us. Hug with us. Oh. All right. That's awesome. I want to thank both of you ladies for being here tonight and kicking off our COVID Conversations series. You two are amazing, and you guys are on Facebook. I know, Jules, you're on Facebook.
Yes,
that people can find you, right? Are you on any other social media platform?
No. But you can find some of my work that I've done so far. On my 4 platforms that I write with along with Tylia, Project Wednesday, The Mighty, Unwritten, and Coffee House Writers. I hope to get back to writing soon, so I can put out more content for everybody to read.
Wonderful. So that's Project Wednesday, Coffee House Writers, and who else?
Unwritten and what I said. Oh my god.
And The Mighty.
And The Mighty. Sorry, I had a brain fart there. My bad. My fault.
Oh, no. It's Friday night. And it's even
Friday.
And Tylia, where can people find you?
You can find me at my website at www.tyliaflores.com. You can find me on Facebook at Stomping on Cerebral Palsy with Tylia. And you can find me on Instagram at Stomping on CP with Tylia. And on Twitter, my Twitter name is Stomping on CP01.
Awesome. And they're going to be stomping on COVID. We're stomping on COVID and we're hugging it out. That's what we're doing. We're internet hugging it out until 2021.
Yes.
All right, ladies. Well, with that, thank you guys all for watching tonight. If you were watching, please, as we went through subjects, drop below in the comments, you know, how you are doing, how your state is doing, things that you're doing to navigate through this time. And remember, we are all in this together. and we are going to get through it. So with that, if you want to know about any of the other resources that the On Air Advocate has, head over to onairadvocate.com and you can find them right there. Or if you'd like to become part of our private community, you can head up to the top of this Facebook page, hit the blue button, and that will let you in. So with that, everybody have a wonderful Friday night and a very safe and blessed weekend. Thank you, ladies.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.